Hello and welcome to Unbox the Podcast, the podcast that helps you live your best life. I'm your host, Sahar Huneidi Palmer, and it's my pleasure to be with you every Tuesday. When you have passed through a trauma, the residue really continues in for a while. Whatever trauma it is, whether it's an invasion or a war or a personal, it elicits an emotional response, an emotional reaction that could unfold over years to come, depending on whether the trauma was really major, although traumas are traumas, but you know what I mean. If it's a significant event in your life, it may actually unfold over more years than you would imagine. And I think the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait completely disoriented me, displaced my life, that the drama of it unfolded over several years. During that time, I was aware that I was emotional. I was going from one extreme to the other. My thinking wasn't really straight, which is why I went for an advice at the suggestion of my cousin. But really, apart from that, you're so emotional. There are so many emotions that need to come out. How do you deal with such a thing? You face new situations that perhaps you haven't faced before, you don't have an opinion about. For example, during the invasion, like literally the second day, the first day we didn't dare go out except to look after my father, but the second day, everyone was home, shocked, stunned, careful, because we didn't know what to do, what to expect, and the soldiers did come around. And I was really shocked because they were so young. They were like 15, 14 teenagers, wearing slippers. It wasn't the formidable army that we heard about that invaded on the first day. And it was such a contrast. I don't know what their technique or their strategy was, but I saw children carrying guns, being sent to do something that I'm sure they were not even aware of. And all this young boy wanted was to ride the bicycle and borrow some music tapes. And I remember that day, I remember it till now, and it really marked me because on the one hand, you want to defend the country that you're born in, that you've lived all your life, you've got your memories, your family, and so on. And then on the other hand, what has this young little boy got to do with it? And lots of conflicting thoughts went on. But by the time I got to London, news agencies were interviewing everyone, to get the latest details, the latest news, as news agencies do. And I don't remember which agency, but, they asked me if I could give an interview, and I said yes. And they came over and they were interviewing me for about an hour and a half, asking me what happened, what did you feel, what did you see? And of course, all the information was fresh. And if I could be helpful, I recited some of the memories. But they didn't like it because I didn't give the gory stuff. I had nothing to say for or against in a way because war does involve everyone. The damage does involve everyone. And then when you see children, it just breaks your heart really, makes it very difficult. So all these emotions, I had nowhere to empty them, and they came up in what I call creative writing or poetry. And I was just amazed reading this like 32 years later. Wow, there is so much of it. And I called this one The Invasion. She pointed the microphone at me and said, "Speak about the invasion. Tell us, what was it like? List the atrocities, the murders, the rapes. Oh, the bastards. Have the soldiers been around? Why don't you speak? Tell us." In the devastation of it all, I said, the soldiers did come around. They didn't tear the doors down. They knocked. All they wanted was a cool drink of water. And then one whispered, "Do you have any tapes for Khalid Roueshid? Can I ride the bicycle for a minute, please?" I don't know why, but I looked at his feet. He was wearing plastic slippers. He was 14. A few days later, I got a thank you letter. The producers didn't need your story, but thank you for tea. And that was it. I didn't give them the story that they were looking for. And I didn't sell the gore and the drama of it because it was such a personal wound, really, that I had a lot to think about. To think, what is it that I want from life? How do I shape my life? What does the future hold for me? And the stuff that was going on inside was much more important than whatever the news agencies wanted me to say. And this happens to all of us. When you come to make a decision, as I gathered after 30 years, what really guides you are the values that are important for you. They call them core values. Core values can change as you change and your life unfolds. But there is something deep down that means a lot, or it means more than anything else. And how much are you willing to sell that for? And does it have a price? Should it have a price? Once you know your core values, it becomes very easy to respond to whatever happens in your life. For me, that 180 degrees turning point was so important that I did need time away from family, from everything. I needed to take all the bone away from the flesh to kind of really know, who am I and what do I want? And once you figure that out, your life path, I want to say, becomes easier, and it does. But let me say this, it's never free of obstacles, but at least you know who you are and what you want in your life. And it's really worth it. And it's a huge gift to kind of know, how do you fit in life? What is your personal purpose? And how does it weave into the whole picture? And for me, this was a huge turning point in my life. And that's why really I never went back to the corporate world, because there was so much to discover. And this trauma has brought about a creative expression that I'm really grateful for. For me, it's so interesting that I started to write poetry. I attended poetry school. I used to give poetry readings at the poetry club in London, Covent Garden. None of that was on my mind. And if you ever told me or predicted that I would be doing that, I would probably laugh so hard, because it was so not me. And now I can't live without reading poetry, scribbling some poetry, anything really creative that delves down into the emotions, into the very purpose of our existence. And it has opened up so many other doors. And it's just incredible to watch this tapestry of my life weaving itself. And everything started with that one event, or one dream, or one nightmare that became a reality. So since then, I pay attention to my dreams. I started dream journals. I think I've got like 13, 14, 15, 16 journals, small journals, big pads, small notepads, large pad, whatever I could find, I would write my dreams. And sometimes I would forget about a dream. Sometimes I would forget about the dream and then find the notebook and then I read it. I was like, oh my God, I had that. I knew about this. I had that dream 10 years ago. So I think that if you learn to keep your own company, that is really something, to spend time with yourself, to enjoy your own company, to enjoy going into and exploring your inner landscape. What makes you tick? What is important for you? How do you feel about what you went through? The rewards are immense, and I would encourage any of you, all of you, to delve into that, even if you have to work with a therapist later on. But knowing you in this way is so important and can help you in so many ways. It's really worth it. You enjoy the journey. So if your life was a movie, I'd say, are you enjoying your movie so far? And if the answer is not, then why not? Rewrite the script, make it more interesting. I'm looking here in my notes, and I'm wondering if I should read you another poem. But do let me know what you're enjoying about Unbox the Podcast. And the reason that I am talking about my journey is I don't know how to deliver a point without giving you a personal example, so that you could see for yourself where these ideas or inspirations fit in your life. So it's very much a practical advice. It's very much a tailored advice. At the moment, I'm talking about my life specifically, but I'm sure that you can relate to it in some ways in what's happening in your life. Maybe you had such a dramatic event that you thought you'll never live your life in the same way again, or you can't survive it, and then you did. I think the important thing is not to carry it like a backpack, like a chip on your shoulder for the rest of life, because it becomes heavier and heavier as you do. You need to so called process it, extract the wisdom out of it, and then keep going. We're here to experience life, I believe, to have all sorts of experiences, not blindly, but in a mindful way, to be aware of what is unfolding. And then that helps you to figure out why you're here, why are you attracting those experiences, what level or dimension of yourself that you need to bring into alignment or clear any distortions, any struggles within those dimensions, what I call the unboxed dimensions of change, the 4 dimensions of change, because then your vessel is really clear. And no matter what you go through, you develop this kind of, by default, you develop this kind of resilience because you're processing as things are happening. You're spending time with yourself. You're not suppressing anything. You're journaling, whether it's your dreams or your feelings or your thoughts. You're emptying your mind before you go to bed. You have a dream that brings some insights. You write your dreams and then you go back to your journal. You kind of see what are these inner conversations that you've been having with yourself. And then you develop that sense of knowing where you fit, where your life is going, what is important for you, why has this happened, what did you learn from it, and you keep going by resilience. By default, you develop resilience. And once you have resilience, you bounce back easily. That's the whole point. When you understand yourself more deeply, you bounce back more easily and you're able to enjoy life. Excuse my mobile messages. I thought I had it on silent. And then you're able to go on. So when people tell me, oh, you're so strong, you survived so many disasters and traumas and so on, I'm not strong at all. But what I have is passion, conviction. If my heart really yearns for something, I go after it, whether it's knowing something or healing something or exploring something. It completely fires me up. And that is what fuels my path forward. So it's not like you have to go through a lot of dramas in order to know who you are. For me, I chose to see it from the perspective, oh, that's really interesting. What can I learn from that? I keep track. I stand all the way back, as my teacher and mentor used to say, stand all the way back so that you can see the big picture. And over the days and the months and the years, the path became clearer. And I knew this is what I'm meant to do. This is what my path is. This is what's so important for me. And then the picture became really clear. And a lot of things that can confuse most of us are not confusing anymore because I've uncovered those gems for myself. And I encourage you to do the same. I encourage you to talk and have these conversations with yourself. It doesn't matter where you start from, and that's something I do. It doesn't matter now is a good day. Today, now is a good day. Now is a good time that you start to have these conversations, to start this inner journey, whatever you want to call it, to start this inner exploration so that you can get to know you because you're so unique. The combination of your consciousness and your physical body is so unique. The universe doesn't need to clone more species or more people. There's a reason why you're here, which is to experience something. And you better find out what it is. You better find out how you are unique. And because you're unique, you add to this tapestry of life. You are connected to all of us. We are all connected to each other in that sense that we are part of the threads that weave the big tapestry. Find out, why is it so important? What are the gifts within you that you should, that you should bring out to the world? And I truly believe that the consciousness is creative. The whole universe wants to create, to multiply, to evolve. So what is it that you want to express within you? What hobbies do you have? Usually when I ask clients, like, who are you? They go, oh, I'm so and so, I'm in private banking or whatever it is. I said, no, that's your job, but who are you? And then they look at me blankly. What are you interested in? What creative hobbies do you have? Not tennis, not jogging, like literally creative, artistic. What is your expression? And you'll find, you might think you're not artistic, but you will find that there is an artistic ability there, especially if you train it. Once you open that door, then inspiration flows in. And once you, for example, start doodling, then you start painting, then you start writing, then you start composing, it kind of, I don't know, it all works together if you let it. And it doesn't matter if it's good or not good. What matters is you do have an expression, you do have a fingerprint, a unique fingerprint that is unique to you. Well, what is it? You're never going to know until you start. You're never going to know until you brave yourself to even try. And this is why I love the tarot. The tarot is that story of that fool who didn't know anything, but he was fierce enough, courageous enough. He dared himself to go on a journey that he knows nothing of, to find out more about himself and his life. So you see how, I don't know, the threads of my tapestry have been woven, and it's been an amazing discovery. And I do hope that you become aware of your own movie, of your own tapestry of life. I really enjoyed talking to you. I hope you're enjoying this podcast. Do write to me. Do let me know what would you like me to talk about, and if you're enjoying this. Thank you. Thank you so much for those who've sent me direct messages. I really appreciate that you've taken the time to do so. Stay well, and I'll see you next week on Tuesday.